I'm a game changer. I'm a risk taker.
Hello, I'm Bimo Etialaman Wiraputra from the Godzilla ITB team. I'm here to present our team scientific challenge. It is about modified bias filter to integrate out-of-sequence measurement data. Now, here is the table of contents. It contains four parts, which is introduction, proposed solution, experiment, and the conclusion. Now, here is the problem introduction analysis. So, as you all already may be aware, here is the RoboCup objective, which is to develop an autonomous humanoid robot soccer teams, which can win again the winner of the most recent World Cup by 2050. Now, to achieve this goal, we certainly need intelligent and adaptive robots that cooperate together, where communication and robust information sharing is key. Especially world state estimation should use data from all robots to overcome single robot sensor limitation. Now, nowadays, actually, it's quite standard for MSL robots to share information with each other, but so far we are in an idealized, unrealistic environment. Now, what if we are in a condition where there is unreliable network with high latency and lots of drop package? For example, we are in a huge stadium with lot of viewers, with lot of Wi-Fi, lot of tethering, with Wi-Fi interference going on, or maybe we use other kinds of transmission data, for example, voice, which certainly transmit less data over time. So with that, in unreliable and high latency condition, how do we handle late and out of sequence data to maintain information sharing robustness? Now we think that this is a relatively underexplored problem in RoboCup circles. Now here's part 2, proposed solution. First, we consider the common filtering algorithm used in robotics, which is bias filter, used for estimation and tracking. As we all may be already aware, bias filter is a probabilistic algorithm where we use the two model, transition model function and the measurement model function to integrate control data and measurement data to our world state distribution. And there are popular variants including Kalman filter and also particle filter, which use a cluster of particles to model the distribution of the world state. Now, basic bias filter cannot integrate out-of-sequence measurement data in its basic variation. By that I mean data which is older than the newest processed data. Why? Because then the Markov assumption cannot be used there, and we need old estimation distribution before the time of data. Now, actually, in different fields in electrical control, actually there has already been multiple research about this, but they do it under the constraint of limited hardware storage, and they use some kind of added assumptions or approximation or smoothing function. For example, they estimate the old distribution using the current one and cache measurement data because they cannot actually store the old distributions because of the storage limitation. Now, in our case, actually, the trivial solution works well. Here we propose the simple modified bias filter, which just cache both old measurement data and estimation distribution for the past few measurements. Here, for our case, this is viable because modern PC can handle the linear increase in space and time complexity. This method is preferred because it is simpler and actually faster in its complexity. It's still mathematically correct, and we don't need to use any additional assumptions or approximations. Now, here is the pseudocode for the modified bias filter. Basically, there is the filter function here, and the modified filter just use records, which is a multi-map using time as its key and distribution and data as its value. And then we just find the newest older distribution in the records. And after we integrate the newly acquired data, we just recalculate all previous distribution after that, and then return the newest one. Here is the related data to be estimated in our case. For example, from our visual perception, we can perceive the ball, the landmark, the other robot's position. And for control, we can find odometry, a displacement of the robot, and compass orientation, and also information from other robots, obviously. From where we need to find the robot's motion, which is the pose and the twist, and the ball motion, which is the position and the velocity of the ball. Now, so from here, the natural solution in ROS architecture consists of 3 callbacks, which is the sensor data callback, the frame shard data callback, and the computation parent event. Now, because of the latency problem where data can come late, we should handle each data separately without waiting for other data availability. And also we need to couple each data with a timestamp so that we know if a data is late or out of sequence. For sensor data, we can use sensor data to estimate our own motion using IMCL, and the ball motion using augmented if you see the ball, or friends motion if you see the friends. Some of these results can then be broadcasted, for example, our motion and the ball, to be received as information by other friends. Well, data from friends can then also be used to estimate the friend's motion from his localization result and then the ball. Now, the IMCL of a robot use multiple different data, for example, odometry and landmarks, and then just one visual perception, so it's generally more reliable than our perception of the friend. And world model also needs to publish estimation result for every computation periods, which in our case is around 30 milliseconds. So timestamp attached to each data is actually useful in this case to correct the estimation, to produce the most up-to-date estimation we can have using some kind of prediction, using the difference between the current time and the timestamp. So the modified Bayes filter, the new algorithm, can then be used here to integrate our ball perception and friend's ball data, and also our friend's perception with a friend's localization result. Now for the second case, we actually need two different interfaces with different measurement models, and also some kind of assignment algorithm to identify each percepted friend's ID. Now here's the experiment. So we develop an idealized simulation environment to simulate real-world state, sensor, and communication with latency in ROS nodes, where each algorithm will then be evaluated for 5 times 3-minute simulation, or around 30,000 data points, and analyzed based on their statistics such as medians and upper quartile like that. Here are the nodes. There is the world state simulator, which simulates the robots and ball motion using some kind of simple planar and physics. Sensor simulators, which simulates each robot sensor with some kind of error profiles in independent Gaussian distribution for each component. And then here is the communication simulator, which relays communication. Now it's modeled as two-state hidden Markov model, which state stable and unstable condition, which their own distribution of the latency and the message drop change. And then there is 3 simulation scenarios based on stable network condition percentage, where good is 80% stable, moderate is 50%, and bad is 20%. And last is the evaluator, which evaluates algorithm accuracy based on error in estimation in matters between estimation and the true world state. So we create 3 setup, which is the baseline setup, where we discard out of sequence ball data and rely only on communicated localization data for friend's motion. And for improvement development feature 1, we integrate out of sequence ball data from friends using the modified Bayes filter. And for development 2, we integrate friends localization data with percepted relative friends position with the modified filter 2. Here are the results. For development 1, we can see from the graph in the orange box plot that improvements are more significant in better network condition. Why? This is likely because out of sequence friend data exists when we are also perceiving the ball. So it's hence badly delayed ones of the friend's ball data will not bring much impact because we already perceive the ball. And for the second improvement, conversely here, improvements are more significant in worse conditions. Why? Because in good network condition, if friend's localization result is available on time, it's a much better estimation, as we said earlier, than our visual perception. But if not, visual perception will really help correct the old localization result. And for the fourth part, the conclusion after this, so we have shown that the use of the modified Bayes filter can decrease estimation errors in condition evolving network latency. And for future works, some ideas we suggest include augmenting and validating the ideal simulation data with real-world experiments. Also try to correct our localization results with other friends' perception of us. And also try to broadcast the whole estimation distribution rather than just a single data point. And maybe try other filter methods such as Kubatur-Kalman filter and neural networks maybe. That's it from me. Thank you. Here's my profile if you have any question. Thank you. I'll give it back to the moderator. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you very much. Now it's time for the questions. Please, question time. Thank you.
So I have a question about the experimental result. It's okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you experienced in the three situations, the good network and the moderate network and the bad network. I cannot understand. This is what is different to this network.
Yeah. So as we said earlier in the communication scimitar setup, I'll explain more about this setup. So there is in bad network conditions, there should be some kind of latency between robot communication and some change of message drops. Now we model the communication network based on some paper as two-stage hidden Markov model. So basically, the network condition in a given time moment can be stable or unstable, where each condition contains their own distribution of the delay, latency time, and also some message drop. As you can see in the right, actually, we can see the parameter we use. So in the stable condition, the probability of a message being sent is 95%, and the delay latency, where it's modeled as a shifted gamma distribution, have mean of 35 millisecond, standard deviation of 10 millisecond, and minimum latency of 20 millisecond. Now, in unstable network condition, the send probability is just 35%, where the delay mean is 300 millisecond, the standard deviation is 100, and the minimum latency is 150 millisecond. Now, because it's hidden Markov model, we can actually tweak the percentage of when the network is stable compared to the unstable network condition percentage. So by tweaking the hidden Markov model change, we can set three scenario where the good network condition has 80% of a stable network condition time, moderate have 50%, and bad have 20%. If that answers your question.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is some simulation situation. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
So if you are using in some real situation, what is expect to some result of which condition is much which condition is most fit to the good condition or moderate condition and the bad condition if you're using the real robot?
I'm sorry, I can't quite catch your problem. Can you repeat it for me? Thank you.
Okay, so maybe this is a simulation situation.
Yes.
So if you are using to the HMM model in real robot, how what accuracy what accuracy do you want or do you expect to utilize this kind of modeling?
So we actually measure the metric of the performance by improvement. So as you by error in matter, so we use error as our metric. Here we can see in the graph, we can see the estimation of each robot. We name the robot alpha, beta, gamma, and each robot generate their own estimation of the alpha position, the beta position, the gamma position, and the ball position, as you can see. So the metric use matter, right? Using the distance of the estimation and the true world state. In real world simulation, actually, if we consider the difference between the simulation condition, first, actually, I think that our current robot condition have much better range in its vision, and as such can get a lot more landmark data rather than the one in the simulation. So I think that for the localization, it should be lower than this, the results shown here. But certainly there will be some. I think the error will not be Gaussian. Certainly in real world condition, the error will not be Gaussian independently distributed, right? So I think the ball, which use only one data point, which is the visual perception, will be higher in error. But I cannot actually give you some real numbers because we haven't actually set up some kind of accuracy testing in our real world environment. Thank you very much for your time.
We are Tim Dagozila from Bandung Institute of Technology, Indonesia. We consist of undergraduate students as active members and some alumni as team advisors. We started our journey in 2016, where we participated in a national exhibition of mobile soccer robots. In 2017, we competed in our first national robotic contest. On a daily basis, we develop our robots for competition purposes. We also do some research to make fine improvements on our robots. We continuously strive to work on our robots because we want to improve our skills. That way, we will be able to fulfill our dream, that is to win competitions and take a step ahead toward the RoboCup 2050 roadmap. Here are our robots. We now have two fully functional robots, namely Jacobi and Kirchhoff. The other three, Isaac, Laplace, and Maxwell, need to be repaired in order to play. Our robots, in general, can be divided into three subsystems: sensory system, moving parts, and controller. Sensory system is responsible for sensing the field and the robot's surroundings. It consists of a camera, proximity sensor, orientation sensor, and some motors encoders. While the moving parts consist of motors and a kicker, the controller consists of a microcontroller and a PC. These subsystems work together very well, creating more specific functionalities such as robot's perception and localization. Here are some of them. For the kicking mechanism, the robot can do two kicking modes: parabolic and straight, which is controlled by a servo connected to the lever. With these robots, we have competed in several national competitions and won some prizes. To advance in the development of the robots, research is a must. These recent years, we have done some research not only for the competition robot, but also for robotics in general. This is our telepresence robot. Telepresence robot is a robot which is developed to enable a person to virtually attend meetings, lectures, etc. The concept is just like a video call. The main difference between a telepresence robot from a normal video call is that the operator can control the robot to move through an Android application. Here, we show our competition-related research. Our research varies from mechanical, electrical, and programming things. In electrical, we did research on topics such as external encoder, locomotion system, as well as its control and kinematics. While mechanical crews explore the keeper expanding mechanism, ball dribbling mechanism, and robot vision. As for programming, we simulate the robot's vision and strategy. In these years, we also take part in ISRSC, Indonesia Symposium on Robotic System and Control. Here, we show the paper we submitted in 3 ISRSC events from 2017 to 2019. As a team, we understand that robotics has been doing great job to us. However, we are still far from the limit. Therefore, we want to share our knowledge about robotics to people around us, so that we can accelerate robotics development in Indonesia. Our short and informal survey shows that AI has been one of the most attractive topics from the perspective of commoners. Also, in this era, AI has been a really great success in lots of ways. Therefore, we can utilize this as the entrance to introduce science, engineering, and especially robotics. In our robot, AI has been playing a very significant role, especially in strategy development. This lets the robots have their own perception and decision. In just 2 years, AI has managed to bring us the Best Strategy Award in the 2019 Regional Robotic Contest and even the Elite Four title of the National Robotics Contest in the same year. Not only in robotics, AI in general has brought humanity closer to ease and convenience. For example, in 2019, the business adopting artificial intelligence had grown by 270% in 4 years. The use of AI is enabling review and translation of mammograms 30 times faster with 99% accuracy, reducing the need for unnecessary biopsies. 46% of US adults use digital voice assistants to interact with smartphones and other devices. Artificial intelligence facts show that Netflix recommendation engine is worth $1 billion a year. Even in handling world-level threats, COVID-19, AI has helped us and is getting us to the end of this pandemonium. And we also hope that this advancement will carry on, creating a future for better. For that reason, learning AI is very important. We may start it with robotics.